Welcome to Foods with Flavor. This week we're going to make a sweet and savory brine pork chop, roasted potatoes, and asparagus. Before I start the pork, I'm going to show you how to make a roasted sea potato in sauteed asparagus. Alright, so I'm adding water to the pan, and you don't need a lot. We just need enough to kind of steam the asparagus for a few minutes. So once I've got that to a boil, I'm adding the asparagus, and I've cut the bottoms off of that asparagus. So I'm letting that steam until I've got it to the point where I want it. You don't want it mushy, you don't want it hard. So it usually takes about 3 minutes. So once that's cooked, you're going to remove the water, add the asparagus back to the pan, and I'm adding olive oil here. You can also add butter. You can add olive oil and butter, and then I added a little bit of salt, sea salt that was, and I'm going to saute that for about a minute. If you don't want butter or salt, don't add it. You know, there's nothing that you have to do in these videos. So if you want something that's more healthy, that's fine, right? If you want something with a little more flavor, add some salt. The very end, actually, after I take this off the heat, I'll add pepper as well. So I'm adding olive oil to sea potatoes, and I just have a variety of types in the bowl here. So I'm going to stir those around and incorporate the olive oil all over. If you don't want to go any further than this, all you really need is oil on the outside of the potatoes. So I'm going to add a salt seasoning mix to this as well. You could just use sea salt if you like. I also added an Italian seasoning to the potatoes as well. Then you're going to cook these at 425 degrees for about 30 minutes. So if you're not sure what a brine is, it's actually really simple. It's just basically adding water and salt to a meat. There's a lot of meats like pork chops that if overcooked, they become dry really fast. So what you do is you add a water and salt solution to that meat to help it retain moisture through the cooking process. In this case, instead of just adding salt, we're going to add salt and sugar and some spices as well to give it flavor within the meat. And so if you've ever had anything that you've cooked on the grill, you can always put some sort of salt mixture or flavor on the outside, but it doesn't really ever cook through the meat. So by brining, the brining process will really incorporate that flavor throughout the meat. So I've brought about 2 cups of water to a boil, and I'm adding equal parts of salt and sugar, a few sprigs of thyme, some peppercorns, and some garlic. And I'm basically just going to keep that on the heat until all the sugar and salt has been dissolved, and then I'm going to cool that down by adding another 2.5 cups of water. Once the pork chops have been in the brine for at least 12 hours, you're going to pull them out and you're going to set them on the rack. 2 things: you want the excess liquid to drip off, and you want them to start to come to room temperature. So after that's happened, you're going to take a pan, and you need an oven-safe pan. Put that pan up. You're going to put some olive oil inside that pan, and you want to get it pretty hot. And you're going to sear the meat on both sides, and you want to sear it so it starts to brown, so it starts to caramelize that salt and sugar mixture and the fat on the outside of the meat. So once you've done that, which should be about 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to put that inside your oven, which should be preheated at anywhere between 425 and 450 degrees. And you're going to cook the pork chops until they're done. So that's really going to depend on the size of the pork chop. I don't recommend doing these with really thin ones. So I used I used inch pork chops when I did this. So it took, I don't know, around 7-8 minutes inside the oven. And you're going to pull them out of the oven, and you're going to remove the pork chop from the pan and put it on a plate to rest for a while. So while the pork chop is resting, what you want to do is you want to take some shallots, some garlic, some thyme, and some butter, and put that in the same pan the pork chop was in. And you want to just saute that together. Towards the end, you can also add mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, don't add mushrooms. The mushrooms will really soak up and absorb that flavor as well. So once that is incorporated, you're going to take the pork chop and you're going to put it back in the plate, and then you're going to baste it. So you want to baste that pork chop with that shallot, butter, garlic mixture. So you're going to do that for about a minute or two, and then you're going to remove the pork chop, put it back on the plate. You can add the mushrooms on top of the pork chop if you would like, and you can drizzle a little more liquid on top. And that's it. And that's how to make my brine sweet and savory pork chop. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on social media, and click on the link below to see a recommended video.